Here we go again. Here we go again, guys. It's episode 531, Soul Not For Sale podcast. We got Joe Rogan and Mike Barker. I know his name's Baker, and I keep saying Barker. I apologize for that. We got Mike Baker. He's an ex-CIA agent, and him and Joe are talking about what everybody's been talking about. What News Nation has been covering like crazy, The Hill Rising, like even ABC, like everybody's been covering David Grusch or Garsh, however you pronounce his name. He's the whistleblower. He's talking about alien activity. He's talking about UFOs. He's talking about secret programs that the government has under wraps. And Joe Rogan is echoing my wife and I's sentiments because we just made an episode about this just about a week ago where we were talking about this, and something just doesn't seem right. And even though Joe Rogan knows that this gentleman is sitting amongst his friends, Jeremy Corbyn and another UFO researcher, two people that Joe seems to trust. He seems to have them on his podcast very often. He seems to always hear them out. He never really calls out the fact that he thinks that they're lying or anything like that. They seem like they're very friendly. They've been on the podcast at least 5 times, I would think. Between the two of them, maybe 6 times. He still has these words to say about this whistleblower. You got to check it out. It's great. Maybe great for me because he's echoing my sentiments, you know. So let's just get right into that. Before I do, I got to bring you over to the store. This is IamCoachColin.com. What you're seeing right now is public enemy number 1. If you don't know who that is, Google the World Economic Forum and you will soon understand why I label this gentleman public enemy number 1. We also have the Certified Pure Blood t-shirt, hoodies as well, because it's getting around that time. For those of you that survived the psychological experiment and came out unscathed from the pandemic. And we have the Soul Not For Sale shirt. I even have the hoodie up. I'm hurting some people's feelings. I know you don't want to think about it. Some of you East Coasters, you know what's coming. September, October, November. Get ready for it. It's coming. You might as well get your hoodies now. All of that's available on IamCoachColin.com. And if you want 10% off, all you got to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin. That discount code will be available as you're purchasing. Someone actually emailed me the discount code. That's not how it works. It's something you put in while you're purchasing. And it's all capital letters, all one word, 1 L in the name Colin. Gets you 10% off. Big purchase, small purchase, anything. And if you've done that already with us, thank you so much. You are much, much appreciated. Now let's get into this clip.
Because the reason why I say this is I don't know why I have these instincts, but because I'm a UFO nut, right? Clearly,
I've not heard
Fucking
that.
Look around.
Nobody says that.
They should. I'm on board.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's bullshit. I don't feel like it's real, and I don't know why I feel like it's fake. I wonder.
What do you mean by that? What's
all
fake?
the Grusch stuff, all the disclosure stuff, all the biological entities, the recovered vehicles, the recovery program, the back engineering program. There's something about it to me that just seems like bullshit, and I don't know why I have this overwhelming instinct that it's bullshit.
So do you think Grusch is like part of the?
I don't think he's. I think he's probably what they would call a useful idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not disparaging him in any way. Mm-hmm. And if he's telling the truth, I'm very happy that he came forward. I think what he did is very courageous. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying that if I wanted to release some bullshit and I wanted to put out a fake narrative to obscure something that we're working on, that's how I would do it. I would get some information to a guy and encourage him to leak it. And then encourage him to have these hearings and talk about all this stuff and put all this weirdness out there where it kind of confuses the narrative, like what is real and what's not real. I just something about it to me, and this is again, but here's part of my feeling on it too. If disclosure was real, if we really are visited and we have been being visited since the beginning of time, wouldn't that, maybe my feeling is that would seem so alien that would seem fake anyway. Because I always felt like if there was a moment of disclosure, if there was a moment where, the president got on television and gave a press conference and said, we are not alone. And we know this for a fact now, and this is our concern. This is what we have to worry about in terms of national security, in terms of whether or not they're malevolent. I feel like that by itself would be so alien, even if it was true, that it would seem fake. And so that's my conflict. My conflict is, I'm wondering, does it seem like bullshit to me? Because if it is real, it would be so bizarre that it would necessarily seem like bullshit. Or is it just too tidy for me? Mm-hmm. Does it just not seem right? Because it just doesn't. It just doesn't seem right. And this is, again, I'm not calling anyone a liar.
Right.
It just seems like bullshit, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I think part of it is we're kind of conditioned to assume that the government hides information from us, right? Oftentimes not for any necessary national security reasons, just because it's such a large operation, and it can sometimes seem very whimsical or capricious why they don't, provide some level of disclosure about things. But I think with Grusch, I think here's my take on it. I think he believes what he's saying, right? I think he has gone out there. I think I'm legit. Like, he was a 14-year veteran of military and the National Reconnaissance Office, and I think he went out and he talked to enough people, and he believes it. I don't think he's out there like spinning a yarn and is worried that now he's gotten over his skis and he's said, too many things. And now I don't know. I don't feel like it's tidy. And maybe the difference between us is I spent, a lot of time with the government, and the government is sometimes can be really, really dysfunctional. And it goes back to keeping a secret. The idea that they could have this what essentially is a covert action campaign, to spread disinformation about what they actually know, right? When the easier thing to do is just to have the program, if it's the U.S. government's, development of technology, right? And we're doing this, to have the program and just keep your yap shut about it, not go for a disinformation campaign, not try to muddy the waters by doing this, because in a sense, you're just creating more conversation around it. You're creating, now there's a little bit of a, movement within Congress to say, we have to do this, now we have to. So they're going to look perhaps for a misappropriation of funds, right? Because they're not going to pursue like the UAP issue necessarily, right? But they might be interested in pursuing misappropriation of funds. So if you're running a program, if it didn't, again, going back to the idea that it's a U.S. government thing, if you're running a program, that's the last thing you want to do, is because you're doing this program to avoid government oversight. You're not going to create this alternative narrative that could generate the sort of publicity or the conversation, particularly up on Capitol Hill, that causes them to then start looking and saying, well, where is money being spent? Right. Because there is a trail there, and that could cause a problem.
What are your instincts when you look at it? If I'm looking at it, I'm saying something's wrong, it seems like bullshit. What are your instincts?
I think I would like to, I don't think we're going to get there. But my instinct is to say, how do we solve this, or how do we come to some sort of logical resolution, as opposed to saying what is it right off the bat. My instinct is to say, all right, if the all-domain anomaly resolution office has 800 cases, then tell us what those 800 cases are. Let's work our way through them, or have a little bit more transparency about working through those cases. Again, you'll probably whittle them down, right, to... we were doing Black Files, and we were going around talking to people about, various sightings and things. You're basically just crossing things off, going, okay, that was this, that was this, that was this. You find some pretty mundane answers, but you whittle it down to maybe one or two things that you can't explain, and then you can investigate those and say, okay, well, all right, let's dig further on these. But right now, it's just like all over the map, and they've got so many cases, and they just kind of lump it all together. Are they doing that to obfuscate and create, this situation where it does seem like bullshit? And I don't know, but
people often say, all of us in the JRE comment section back in the day when it was on YouTube, we would often talk about this gentleman as somebody who tends to trail off in his thought processes. But I don't think he is. I think he does that purposely. You notice that he didn't actually answer the question. Joe's like, what are your instincts? And he said, like, I want to investigate it instead of asking what it is right off the bat, which, like, I think he's too smart for him to just be like, oh, he's just a dumb guy. Like, he's not dumb. He's not dumb. But maybe I'm a little biased because he's CIA and I feel like he's still a part of the CIA and he's not really a former agent. I don't know. But I will say this. When it comes to Grusch, it is tidy. Joe is right about that. How often does someone come forward with information about a UFO? First of all, this gentleman has information about programs. He's almost like a third party to what people have seen and gone through. He has no actual information himself. How many times have we had people say that they've had direct encounters, that they've seen things themselves, and they didn't get even a tenth of the coverage that this gentleman got? That's right off the bat what makes me think it's fake. Every single outlet, obviously not every single, I shouldn't say that, but out of nowhere, you search his name on YouTube, there is just, it's never the same outlet twice. So many sit down interviews, hour-long interviews. Why is he getting this amount of coverage? You know? I don't know. It's very odd. So for Joe to say it's tidy, I think he's right. And for him to say it's not tidy because he's worked in the government, it's just, I don't know. Again, the guy's CIA. I don't know. But, and then we go over to what he said about them not being able to keep a secret and the government's dysfunctional. I just don't buy that. I think the government could easily keep a secret. I think they're keeping secrets now. I think they keep secrets all the time. I think that's one of the things that they are the best at. They're not that great at taking care of the people. They're not that great about hearing the people out. They're incredible at keeping secrets. It's the one of the best things they do. I mean, what do they do better? They keep secrets. They spend money. Spending money might be the thing that they do better than anything. But after that, it's secrets for sure. So to think that they just couldn't keep a secret. Here's what I throw out there. Why couldn't two people? One guy has access to all this government money. He's CIA, whatever. He's a government official. He's high up. And he just goes to another gentleman and says, I want to create a program. I want you to be in that program. But the thing about it is, once we start this, we're going to fake your death and you're going to become a ghost. And then I'm going to give you a bunch of profiles of people and you're going to decide who you want. And those people are going to become ghosts. And don't worry about the money. I'm going to siphon it off from this thing and nobody will ever know. I know it sounds like a movie plot, but that's a thing that could easily happen. And they just have this department that nobody knows about. These people don't interact with the outside world. And I only say all that to just prove in my way that a secret can be kept for a long time. A big secret. Very easily. All it takes is for a few people to agree. And that's it. And I think there's people who work in the government, whether it's like the Men in Black types or the agencies that we have no idea about. I think they stay as ghosts and we never see them and they never interact with the public and they do not interact with their families and they're gone. And they're just doing work. Things that we couldn't even fathom. I really do believe that. But aside from that, yeah, I'm with Joe. I was saying this before he came out and said this. My wife was saying the same thing. This guy, this Grusch guy, he just doesn't seem super trustworthy. A sad thing did happen. His medical files were leaked. That, I think, whoever did that shouldn't have done that. It was done to show that he's had some psychological issues, but he also served this country, and a lot of those gentlemen come out with psychological issues. So I don't know who did that, but that was like a shitty move in my opinion. There's no need to do that to somebody. That happened recently, and yeah, I think it's fake. I really do. I think that the one thing they would do that Mike Barker said they wouldn't do, like why not just keep your mouth shut? You can't keep your mouth shut. There are so many pilots, story after story of pilots seeing a thing and it shoots off or it shoots into the water. It goes here, it goes there. It knows where we are. There's just too many accounts for them to just keep their mouth shut. That's not an option anymore. So once things get leaked a little bit, what's the next step? Misinformation, disinformation, bringing out this guy, having him say that there's all this stuff going on. Because the thing about it is, now that they've given this guy this much airtime, this much consideration, once whatever he says gets disproven, all of this talk is done. Think about that. All of it's done. There's no more talk. Once he gets disproven, there's no more, well, let's do another probe. Nope. This is the gentleman that everybody chose to focus on. This is the gentleman that they went and heard out in Congress and everything. Once he's disproven, once they look into what he has to say, all of this is done, put to bed. So what would be the smartest thing for a government to do if we just like step back? Just look at it. Send this guy out, have him say a bunch of things, have those things get disproven, and now everybody stops talking about UFOs. That's just what I think. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Do you think he's telling the truth? And keep in mind, I just want to say before I wrap up, keep in mind, I 100% believe that aliens do exist. I 100% believe there are many species beyond this planet, beyond this world, even things that we don't know about in our own planet. I'm a full believer. I just don't believe this guy. It's just this guy I don't believe. That's it. Fravor, I believe Fravor. I believe he saw something, But this guy and what he talks about and the way he talks about it and the way that every single, again, talking in circles, every outlet covers him. I just don't believe it. Like this video if you haven't liked it already, but let me know in the comments if you think this guy's telling the truth. Go and watch some of his videos. Grusch. Go watch some of his videos. I'm going to put one of his videos in the playlist called The Research. Just so maybe you don't know who he is, maybe you don't care like searching. Go find that playlist. I'm going to upload a video to it right now just so you can see him. Just see his body language, see how he talks, see how he speaks, see how he looks to camera, see how he's interacting with people. See if you believe him. And hear his story out as well. If you haven't heard his story out yet, hear his story out. See what you think. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And other than that, episode 531, I'm out.